Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing a book haul, which I normally never do, but I have accumulated a few books over the past couple of months, and I decided to just show off and talk about them. A lot of them are really anticipated reads that I've heard a lot about, so I'm really excited about this haul. So without further ado, we're actually gonna go ahead and start I'm actually gonna be unboxing my book of the month books for this month. So I'm not actually a member of Book of the Month. Like, I did join just for the $5 deal where you could get your first book for $5, and one of the stipulations was that you had to have renew at least once. So the first book that I got, which I guess I'll just talk about right now, is the book I'm currently reading, but that is Silver Elite. I just have the dust jacket right now because my actual book is somewhere else. But yeah, my first book was Silver Elite. This one I've heard a lot about. It's really the hyped book of the season. It's been talked about a lot. I've been seeing a lot of things about it, and I had heard a lot of like good things about it. Particularly now it's a little bit mixed since it's been out, but I am reading it right now and I'm really enjoying it actually. So yeah, I guess the first book of this haul is Silver Elite. But yeah, after that I got actually 2 credits, because one for the renewal and one because my Silver Elite copy came late, so they gave me an extra credit. So the books I ended up choosing for June were Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is her newest book. I think this is a fantasy or something. It's like magical, I think. And all I know is about 3 girls in 3 different timelines, and somehow their stories intertwine in some way. I really enjoy V.E. Schwab as an author, and I've kept up with most of her work, so I'm really excited about this one. Again, don't know too much about it, but the concept of having 3 different stories in 3 different time periods, but somehow they all connect, sounds super intriguing. And then the next book that I ended up choosing for my Book of the Month box for this month was Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is actually way thinner than I thought this would be. And the text is huge, but this is a really popular and famous, I want to say memoir or just a story. I know the author like either wrote this as a memoir or like used a lot of her own experiences growing up Korean in this. So yeah, I've just heard a lot about this, and I needed to choose another book because I had an extra credit, so I decided to go with this one. So yeah, really excited about this one, and I've just heard a lot of really good things about this. Next is a book that I got for my birthday. I got Love Hypothesis for myself from Half Price Books. This is the very first book that I read for I was gonna say Abby Jimenez, but Ali Hazelwood. She's a really popular romance author, and she's really prolific. She's always coming out with new books. She publishes more than one a year, usually like 2 to 3. So yeah, she has a lot of really loyal fans, and I read this and I actually really enjoyed this, so I'm excited to get more into Ali Hazelwood. I actually have another one of her books in this stack right here, but yeah, I got this for my birthday because I decided to go to a few bookstores and treat myself, and this was one of those books. The next books are a few that I got while I was in Italy this past month. The first one is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This one is her newest book, and I wanted to get this one specifically because it's sold as only hardcover, I think, right now in the US, but in the UK and I guess like Europe and maybe Australia, it's sold as paperbacks, and now it's matching my other Abby Jimenez books. I've only read Part of Your World, but I really enjoyed that one, and I'm really excited to get to her other books because I've heard nothing but the good things about it. So yeah, I decided to add this to my Abby Jimenez collection. The next one is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This is the other one I was talking about. I don't know honestly why I picked this up. I've just heard a lot about this. This is, I think, her newest release, I want to say. Now I think it's her second to most recent because Problematic Summer Romance just came out. But yeah, I don't know, I just heard a lot about it. I don't know if this is a good place to even jump in as like a second Ali Hazelwood book, but I feel like I'll enjoy it. Her books are like really fast-paced and addictive, and like a really good palate cleanser between like usually my bigger and heavier fantasy reads that I read. So yeah, I'll be reading this one hopefully soon. And then the next one I was so excited to find because I really wanted specifically the UK cover for this, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I just think this cover is just so much like prettier than the US one. The US one is just like all black with like something pink on it, but I just think this is so much more vibrant Now the only thing is this, I'll have to get the sequels and everything in this version too, but yeah, I'm really glad I found this. I have read Caraval, but I haven't read the last book in that series. I will want to read that before I get to this, but I really enjoy Stephanie Garber's writing, and like her world, her like Caraval world is like really fantastical and whimsical, and I really enjoy that atmosphere, and I think this kind of continues on with that, and I think it's a spin-off series. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I've heard a lot of really good things, and I just hope that it lives up to the hype for me. The next books I have on the stack are Binding and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. These are the first two books in the Boys of Tommen series, which I've heard so much about. There's been a lot of buzz about that right now, specifically because Releasing 10 came out, and I know I'm gonna read this really soon because Releasing 10 came out, and I honestly felt the FOMO because I felt like I kept seeing videos on like TikTok and stuff of people reading it, and I just really wanted to get into this world. I know that it's really dark and that there's a lot of like dark topics and conversations, but I think overall it's a really, really great, I think, friendship group, and just their dynamics with each other I've heard are really great. So this is definitely a top priority series for me, and I'm glad that I own them. I think I will really enjoy them. Next up, I have Blood Over Bright Haven by ML Wong. This one I honestly picked up because I thought the premise was super interesting. I have heard of The Sword of Kaigen. I think that's ML Wong's other book. I've heard also really great things about that one. I also want to read that one. I don't know why I got this one specifically. I guess it was calling to me in some way, but this one is about this woman named Sayona, and she has been always wanting to be the first woman to get into this really prestigious like University of Magic, and she actually makes it in after passing the exam, but she gets assigned to be a janitor, but she doesn't realize that her assistant ends up being someone with like a past, and they kind of like learn more about each other and work together to uncover some secrets, I guess. I thought it was a really interesting premise, and that's why I mainly picked it up. I also think the cover is cool, and it has red sprayed edges, so it's also a beautifully made book. Sometimes books just call to me for me to like want to own them, and I guess this was one of those. That is another one of Cassandra Clare's Kickstarter books. This is Careful of Books. This one is a short collection of stories called Careful of Books, and I haven't read it yet, but of course I needed to have her Kickstarter books because I think they're not available anywhere else, at least as of now. Also, I've really appreciated that these are really well made books. Like Kickstarter really put their, or like they use the money, like I feel like wisely. Like they made a beautiful book. Like this is gorgeous. The end papers are also really pretty. The art is like overall really beautiful. Also, some of the books have like images in them, so I'm really like glad that they made these books special and not just like a normal book. One day I'll get to this. I'm really excited. Cassandra Clare is like one of my favorite authors ever, so of course I will be looking forward to reading this. Another book that I've heard a lot about is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This one seems to be about this like scientist in the past, as in the 1960s, and kind of her journey, because obviously during that time like there wasn't a lot of female scientists, so I think it just follows her experience during that time as a scientist. I've just heard a lot about this. It was like Barnes and Noble's like book of the year or something, either like a couple years ago, I want to say. There's a lot of like critical acclaim and awards for this book, so I am really excited. The reason I got this is just because I've heard so much about it, and I've heard it's like really good. Then I went to San Diego and I visited a couple bookstores there. The first one was Mysterious Galaxy because I've just heard a lot about that, not in like people talking about it, but every time an author stops in San Diego, it's always at Mysterious Galaxy, and it's like a sci-fi fantasy focused bookstore. So there I got Will of the Many by James Islington. This one is another like really popular book that I've heard so much great things about, and I'm really excited about. I'm just sad I had to get like this kind of ugly copy because I wanted to get the original blue one, but then the lady at the cashier was like, the books aren't gonna match, so I wanted my books to match, like in case I get the sequel, so I decided to get this. At least it has yellow sprayed edges, but I think I prefer like the other blue cover. But yeah, again, I've heard a lot of really good things about this one. This one is about a society where like people like they siphon like strength from people and like funnel it upwards, and it has something to do with that. I think that's a really interesting concept. But yeah, this one also has really high ratings on Goodreads, so I have high hopes for this one. Then I visited another bookstore called Verbatim Books in San Diego, which is a used bookstore actually, and that's where I got Lady Tan's Circle of Women. So this one is about this woman in China. I don't know like what time period, but basically she is trying to like be a doctor, and she's trying to help women, but she is thrust into this arranged marriage, and she's supposed to kind of be more subservient and subdued, but it's kind of her story about breaking out of those boundaries and helping the women that she can. Honestly, like, I've heard about this, but I just saw it there at the bookstore and it was only like $10, so I decided to get it. But overall, it actually does sound really, really interesting. Like, anything that has to do with a woman like kind of breaking out of her more like subordinate role, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's always super interesting to me, and I'm excited to see how she does it. And then the last book I got just a few weeks ago from Half Price Books, but that is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This one is a young adult like mix between, I've heard like if you mash like Cruel Prince with Once Upon a Broken Heart with like Bridgerton, I think all of that sounded really interesting to me, and overall the concept sounds really fun, so that's why I wanted to get it. Another book that was like sort of calling to me as a book that I wanted to own for some reason. Sometimes books just do that. I sound crazy, but yes, the books are talking to me and they want me to buy them. This was one of those books. It was just calling to me. I wanted it. It sounded super interesting. It sounded like a book that I would just have a lot of fun reading. And yeah, that's why I got this. That's why I got this one. This one is about this society, and this girl, she has a debut season, and then she makes like some deal, I think, with someone. Maybe she's trying to win the prince. Yeah, that's all I know, but it sounds fun and I'm excited to read it. But yeah, that is it for my book haul. As you can see, it is very precariously stacked behind me. I hope that they don't all fall in my head. Anyways, that is the book haul I have for the past couple of months. I usually don't honestly buy this many books, but I was on vacation and I was traveling to a bunch of places. So every time I go to somewhere new, I like to visit like their bookstores and get a book from there. So that's why I have like a lot more. Also, I've just been in the book buying mood. It was also my birthday and I need to stop being on a book buying mood. Like, now I'm on a book ban, and I'm not gonna buy any other books until like I've read quite a few of them. Yeah, but I'm really excited for all these books. A lot of them are really anticipated reads for me. A lot of them I've just heard a lot of like really highly rated reviews. So yeah, looking forward to that. But that is it for this video. Let me know down below if you read any of these books, as of course I would love to know. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.